Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to Pinball Arcade. So last time we did Bride of Pinbot, not the worst table ever, but not as good as Pinbot, the original Pinbot. Today we're doing Cactus Jacks, which definitely looks like it is a throwback, and in a weird way, it kind of feels like it might have been the inspiration for Whoa Nelly, too. Let's hop into this.
It's polka time!
So, Cactus Jacks 1991 is a Western themed table made to be a good old time for the whole family. It was designed by Gottlieb, for Gottlieb by Reinhard Bangarter, John Norris, with a quirky mechanical cactus band at the back of the playfield that activates during multiball. The table features 2-ball multiball, the quick scoring Banjo Bonus, and jackpot features, and thorny surprise mystery awards. Wild art and vibrant light show and sizzling country rock music complete the package to make the to complete the package to made a delightful that should say make table for all ages. 1,900 units of this machine were produced. And see, I can already tell why that would be the case. 1991, to make a table that feels like a throwback to the 60s in its art style and its focus. And you're kind of limiting yourself in the 90s to country. And while country does have its popularity, certainly it's not approaching a broad audience, and arguably probably not really approaching uh, pinball players that much. One would think that pinball players would be more technological, more progressive, thus, they would probably be more interested in electric style music such as rock, roll, pop, things like that, where country is old school country would be banjos or acoustic guitars. You have a table here that is very, very colorful, lots of different lights, not even being explained. It's kind of like you're making a salad, mixing in a whole bunch of fruits and vegetables. You've got a straight line of 4 drop down targets and then another 4 drop down targets with a standing target in between. That is a massive amount of targets. Looks like you've got a drop down sinkhole. This is the last time we saw flashing lights with signs in front of them was with Whirlwind. And I wonder if that's a case where Gottlob was getting cheap and they didn't want to perhaps have real art, so that instead they were just putting stickers on metal plates. You've got 3 cactuses on top of the bumpers, which this is the first table we've seen that's done that. You've got a ramp here that looks like it is shining and reflecting the ceiling, and I can't look up at the ceiling to even tell. This ramp cracks a whip, which that's a little dangerous imagery. Country always has that danger of being potentially feeling racist. Um, but and yeah, whip actually cropping a whip while being a cowboy doesn't happen that much. In fact, most of being a rancher nowadays, and even in 1990s, would have not been really anything like the way it's depicted. Uh, Ranchers and farmers are actually secretly rich people who got lucky by owning land and owning a lot of things, or they are owned by corporations and secretly rich people. There's a ramp up here that goes down there. Not to say that ranchers and farmers can't go into massive amounts of debts, but the fact that they can get loans for $1 million tractors and then go into debt really goes to show the potential for upward mobility is much higher for them than your random average person in the city. So it looks like you have to shoot up here to lock the ball. I have no idea how you'd ever make that shot. I mean, this looks like a literal impossible shot because you've got a standing target just millimeters in the way. So the only way you're going to get up there and potentially get this lucky horseshoe shot is to launch the ball back and up and down this peg hole. There's a lot of slingshot bumpers all over the place and a top glass on this because apparently they, in their game testing, they realized the ball was popping up really high. Yeah, I'm thoroughly unimpressed by this table so far. It looks like it's got very little. Do we have a center peg? No. Do we have kickbacks? Not that I can see. It may be fairly difficult to hit the left out lane. Looks like it's fairly easy to hit the right out lane. I guess you're trying to shoot the target straight up that guitar band and into the top lane. There's a lot of focus here on the top lane. There's an underground path under the ramps that I think either opens a trap door or it sinks the ball back that way. All the way to hit a standing target way on the far right. Yeah, I am so far unimpressed. Like, I don't know how many cowboy bars or country bars would have existed that Gottlieb would have thought, oh, we need to make something specifically that is only sellable in a country bar. And I suppose you could certainly, once again, say you got two blonde country girls here showing off both their behinds and their breasts in the lower right hand corner, and some more girls, another brunette or two in the background. It seems like mostly everybody here being depicted is also fairly Caucasian, which that screams racism too. Which, yeah. But yeah, that's what I immediately get. And that may not be fair. It may not be fair at all to say, oh, country equals racism. But in 2021, one of the arguably best country singer happened to be African American and was snubbed completely in the Country Music Awards. So take that for what you want. But yeah. More and more, though, what I'm disliking here is the two multi-ball and the boring looking table. So let's see how it actually plays. Now there's supposed to be these moving cactuses on the table. I didn't see those. Like, I see cactuses on the bumpers, yes. Oh, they are way in the background. So the gimmick is that they're gonna dance around. And I mean, this almost feels like this would have been a VeggieTales tie-in. For our standard goals is to get the Banjo Bonus, advance the bonus multiplier, start multi-ball from the plunger, start the pop-up bump around, and earn an extra ball. I don't know how you'd start a multi-ball from the plunger, but let's see. It does feel like after, say, a table like Funhouse, where you had Buddy talking, I could see the idea there that they needed some characters, they needed to have actual personalities in the people on the table. But I just don't feel it. I don't feel like this is a theme. And at the very least, if you compare this to Woe Nelly, which we'll have to do when we get to Woe Nelly, which is one of the few tables that I haven't actually purchased, Woe Nelly is selling on sex and the country girl trope of that being appealing. Whereas I don't even know if in 2021 too many people are into the country girl trope or fetish. I'm sure there are plenty of people going to farmers only. So that's how you start multi-ball. You do it by launching into the figure 4 horseshoe from the... There's a lot of sound effects playing right now. This kind of feels very much like Going Nuts, in that instead of trying to put numbers and scores to things, they are instead just having 5 different colors. Yeah, I don't know what's making the ball... I can't believe I actually hit the ball up into that lock position. This just feels so cartoony. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be lighting or de-lighting the top lanes. It seems like the game started with all the top lanes lit. Yeah, it just seems like it locks there. I want to be as fair as possible on a table like this, but I just cannot understand this theme getting approved as a table. I guess it's colorful. Colorful and different may be all that was necessary, really. I suppose what you would do is you would spin this off to food fight theme instead of a country theme.
Welcome to Cactus Jacks. It's party time.
Unless Gottlieb just already had the trademark for Cactus Jacks or something, and they had to use that as an idea. Maybe there was a different Cactus Jacks table from the 60s, 40s, or 50s. Everything is blinking while we're doing this multi-ball, so I have no idea what I'm supposed to be targeting. Instead, you're just getting this. There doesn't seem to be a line dancing theme here. If we were gonna stick with the country theme, why is there not a line dancing theme? Why is there not a riding a mechanical bull theme? Why isn't there riding or breaking a stallion theme? I could see having a toy of a bucking bronco in the back of the table spinning around.
It's polka time.
This table is incredibly easy for multi-ball. So I don't know if maybe this was designed specifically to try and introduce pinball to country bars. I don't know if that really makes enough sense. As another delayed shape.
You'll come back now, yeah?
In a funny way, I don't like it, the theme, because it's modern country. Whereas if you had made this old western and even gone like cowboys and Indians, which wouldn't be like not considered appropriate in 2021, which it is ridiculous how much of this is the criticism of these tables is now being looked through such a different lens with cancer culture and such. I mean, I'm talking about it way too much, obviously. But yeah, even if it was a Cowboys and Indians theme, I think you'd have more just thoughts. Unless you were going to have this table literally funded in part by like Miller Lite or some other brand of beer, and try to just do product promotion with alcohol. I suppose that might make some sense as to why a table like this might exist. But that barely makes sense. And that didn't happen, obviously. I don't know if any Pinball Table 91 would have been able to promote alcohol anyway, so that probably was never on the table. That's more likely to happen in 2021, if any point. I can't understand half of what he's even saying. Is he saying Yahoo Tumbleweed? I would argue that Gottlieb very well may be the worst of the three major game developers. Oh, by the way, the table maker that exists now is called Jersey Jacks. I was trying to remember the name of it earlier in a previous episode. But they are mostly making tables for collectors, not for mass production. So if this is supposed to be the theme of a band, then we should probably have a concept here that you could have easily done in 1991 of multi-tracking music, and as you play the music gets better and better. You get a banjo player adding his lines of audio, you get a bass player, you get a singer, you get someone on the spoons or the saw, some of those really funny instruments that some country players use. Like, that would make sense, and that wouldn't even be the first table to have done something like that, so that idea could easily have been stolen. Because if that's what Cactus Jack is supposed to represent, is this bar slash entertainment venue, then why does it seem to be more about cactus and throwing fruit? It's like a bar that is set at a fruit stand on the side of the road. I am just keeping the ball in play, and that got our third standard goal without me really understanding what I was doing. Which, in all fairness, that is pretty much half the tables, is that I can just play a decent game and succeed. It's weird that I can sink the ball in the far right sinkhole and it not do anything by default. I'm sure it gives me a little bit of points, but that's it. You can see I have just like 2 million right now, so this isn't even a particularly high scoring table. So, Banjo Bonus. Great hurry up feature on this table is the Banjo Bonus. To start the Banjo's bonus, hit the banjo spot targets here and there, And there. Banjo can also be collected, started by collecting the Banjo Bonus Thorny Surprise Award. Refer to the Thorny Surprise chapter for more details. When Banjo Bonus is started, the Banjo Bonus hurry up value is shown in the display. The hurry up value begins quickly counting down. Complete the left lane before the value reaches 0 to collect the Banjo Bonus. First bonus starts at 400,000. Okay. 3 ways to earn an extra ball. One is by complete the right ramp with advances extra balls lit to score the letters of extra ball. So just hit that ramp multiple times. Although I don't think that ramp launches you back into a good position to hit it 9 times in a row. So that'll take some work. Extra ball letters are carried over from player to player and game to game until extra ball is scored or the table is restarted. Oh, well then that's incredibly easy. Or you can light the extra ball in the return lanes, complete the 5x multiplier. The bonus multiplier starts at 1x, complete all 4 lit rollovers to increase the bonus multiplier by 1x. It's weird to have them lit and then try to unlight them. Another way to get extra ball is the left return lane. Is to collect the light extra ball Thorny Surprise Award. Shoot the up kicker here with Thorny Surprise lit to collect Thorny Surprise Awards. Okay. So those all seem like they're fairly easy. These Cactus Jacks are they are set. They're just wiggly little toys set in such a way to wiggle on the slight jostling that's happening there. And that does not look good at all. It feels like it is inspired by something like Showbiz Pizza, Chuck E. Cheese. But those mechanical things were actually controlled by electromechanical pneumatics. So the technology there was actually very different. And it makes them incredibly hard to repair and maintain the Showbiz Pizza automatrons. Like, I kind of hate every single line of dialogue on this table. There was the Banjo Bonus. I didn't realize I was anywhere close to accomplishing that. But I kind of knew I had done something. I think you also probably have a desire here, if you're going to do music, to really make banjo music sound really good. And I feel like you could easily have had a big banjo on the field, either in artwork form or actually as like a depiction of several different ramps or lanes. It feels like when you're spelling extra ball, you're actually doing it at random. So you might get different things. And see, he's playing like polka music during the multi-ball. So if the gag here is that these are supposed to be unliked bad musicians, then like that needed to be made more obvious. Like, I have no idea why you would play polka as a country musician. And it really is just a matter of time. 25 minutes in, I'm probably, in the next couple of games, gonna get all the standard goals. And we've definitely seen that with some tables where they just kind of suck, but they're super easy. But that's kind of the problem too. I think why there is a slowdown is because the ball is actually being launched in an upper play field that's clear, and I wasn't seeing that at that top lane area, and then it is falling down into the top lanes. And see, we're in the multi-ball right now. I have no idea if there even is a target you're aiming for as far as a jackpot or a special. Are we just trying to hit? Are we just trying to get more score, or were we in multi-ball just trying to hit something? That may have been extra ball there on the out lane. Otherwise, that was just a special. So many of these tables are so weak. I guess it would explain the extra amount of slingshots if there is a top lane playfield. But that's really a waste of resources to have a top lane playfield that only interacts with the table when you launch your slingshot skill shots, and it doesn't even seem to be really a real skill shot anyways. It seems to just be hit the lit multi-ball horseshoe when it's lit, but if not, there is no skill shot. I don't know what you could do with fruit to make that make sense in a pinball table. Yeah. Like, it would probably be similar if you were trying to make a table around the concept of cooking. That just would not really work.
Welcome to Cactus Jacks. It's party time.
This clearly is a table that's a throwback to color palettes of old. If they were going to really make a throwback table, they might as well just made a throwback table. Get rid of one of the ramps on the right. Get rid of half of the standing targets. Make the bumpers bigger. Make them more center to the top field. Make it really simplistic and just making generic bell sounds. That wouldn't really work because it's now been decades since by 1991 there would have been decades of tables ramping up the attention grab schemes. So an old school throwback table, unless you were just going to sell it to the collectors, which maybe this was a table designed to be sold to collectors only, but even that doesn't make sense in 1991. It would make more sense in 2001. Yeah, he's counting in German. Eins, drei. 1, 2, 3.
You'll come back now, yeah?
I don't know in 1991 any country singer that would actually license his music too. If this was like supposed to be a Blues Brothers tie-in table, it doesn't feel anything like Blues Brothers, and I think there was a Blues Brothers tie-in table eventually. If this was supposed to be like some other band that happened to not be a country band tie-in. There we go, I got the extra ball. Just by getting halfway up the ramp, talk about an unenthusiastic reward. Feels like if you were going with cowboy, you would have like a spinner at the top where the ball would spin around the cowboy hat. That would make a lot of sense. But oddly, this seems like this is more about cactuses, and I don't know how you can make a pinball table around just cactuses and fruits. If you were going to make something about the desert, I don't know how that would work either. It's ridiculous that you launch the ball and you have a second multiplayer, and by the time you're done with that 2-ball multiplayer, you are already ready for another multiple. So throw a watermelon. 3 multiple spot targets here, left ramp here, spot targets here, and the right ramp and top spot are lit to throw a fruit. Interesting. And see, now you can see that it is a top-down, a upper play field for no reason. Yeah, that's just pointless plastic. I guess there is a skill shot, either the second or the third row. Throwing a fruit scores the currently lit fruit value. When the game is started, egg is lit. Throwing egg gets 100 pounds. To advance the fruit level to the banana, shoot the droplet. Targets here and here. Throwing banana scores to advance that. Shoot to 2 lit. Drop targets banked here and here. Shoot 3 lit. Okay. I think we can get the idea here. So you're going to have to basically hit all 8 of these drop targets to advance the fruit up to watermelon. All 5 fruit shots remain lit until multi-ball is over. Multi-ball ends when only 1 ball is left on the table. Okay. Outlane special, I think we've already done. Collect Jack's pot. If marijuana was supposed to be a concept here, it's being overlooked. The left ramp increases 20, 30. How's this? Consecutive shots without hitting any switches other than the right return lane switch. So just go through that multiple times. Okay, well, we know what we're doing. Score the banjo special. 4-time banjo round is started. The rollover here is lit for 14 seconds to score the banjo special. Okay. And then earn a 3.5 million bonus. Fruit value multiplied by bonus multiplier. So get that up to watermelon, which is 500,000. And then increase the ball multiplier by hitting the top end lanes. Bonus multiplier can be upgraded from 1 to 7 times, which that does seem like you would have to have the maximum bonus return, which we've seen as wizard goals pop up several times. And that's not crazy, it's just a little demanding. A little demanding for kind of no reason, too.
It's polka time.
So the goal here is get the score multiplier and hit as many of the drop targets as possible on the left, and those are just so far to the left that it's not likely I'm ever going to be able to hit them all. Even if I had ball control and it actually worked, and I could cheat to get wizard goals with that. Well, if I can get the shot. Nope.
You'll come back now, yeah?
And the real reason why this exists is because there was a fad around a dancing cactus. There was some like fad toy for a brief second in the 90s, and it was sound activated, so whenever it heard loud sounds it would cause the dancing cactus to jiggle and wiggle, and not really a natural way by any means. It was a much simpler time, obviously, when you could have huge fads around gadgets like that. At least the singing bass was a full concept and a full gimmick. And sure, those kinds of technologies had to start somewhere. We wouldn't have things like Siri and Alexa at this point. I suppose if we didn't at some point have the dancing flowers and the dancing cactuses. But that just feels really ridiculous that that would be the motivating factor to potentially greenlight the production of 1,900 pinball tables and spend what I assume would have been anywhere from 6 months to 2 years developing a table, although maybe the concept was added at the very end. I wouldn't be surprised if the tables themselves were designed blank and then a theme was added much later. So what I need to figure out is there a bounce one can do to get those lit targets? And it doesn't matter, or do right now if I do hit the drop targets, or do I have to start multi-ball first and then hit the lit targets? So without flipping the ball over to the other side with the ball switch, you don't have a lot of opportunities to get that shot, which highlights that ramp is kind of in a bad place. That angle could have easily been twisted. It could have been lowered down. You could bring you could get rid of the top 4 drop-down targets, which I would be very happy with getting rid of those, and then bring the 2 ramps on the left inward. I guess that top lane is not likely to start multi-ball. And it's a weird complaint to make, but it does kind of feel like on this table there's not enough pathways. Really, like it feels like there should be some other ways to do a figure 8. Move the ball from the left paddle to the right paddle. Feels like there should be some secret paths. A farmhouse potentially having a cellar concept would have made sense. For country or country western bar. Moonshine. A moonshine still made up of garbage would have been an interesting way to go. They wear these sunglasses, which makes them feel weird, to say the least. I kind of feel like the dancing cactuses were some kind of Japanese gimmick, so this might be a very Japanese-inspired country mentality with the bright neon 80s colors, which would have still been the fad in the 90s. I swear some of the colors and clothing in the 90s were wild for the time, but just ridiculous in retrospect. But yeah, I wouldn't mind if they come back in the fad. I just don't think anybody's gonna lack that much common sense though to wear bright colored shapes and colors on their clothing like they used to. See, I'm like 43 minutes into this and I don't actively really want to play it anymore. This is a boring table. Give it a couple hours, I'll get lucky enough to throw a watermelon and and get the maximum bonus, and then everything else would be done. See what else. Outlane special. We already got that once when it was during the standard goals. Banjo special. Yeah. And we'll see if we can actually... Well, this is a different kind of board. Let's see. Right flipper. Left flipper. It's interesting to see here that we're starting to... starting to see the flippers being used as inputs instead of secret buttons only on the inside of a cabinet, which inherently implies that at this point the flippers are being directly interconnected into a operating system of sorts and not just directly wired to the flippers. which does also open the possibility, if these flippers are being digitally controlled, that you could potentially change the strength on some tables of the flippers. I don't think anybody ever got super sleazy with it and like programmed the tables to not respond.
Welcome to Cactus Jacks. It's party time.
Because even by 1991's standards, if you were getting super sleazy with it, you would rue the day that you made that decision, because somebody's gonna smash your pinball table in frustration. Right, so with ball control, I need to hit the blinking lights, which are randomized, and you can do it outside of multi-ball.
Too bad, you can play again.
Oh man, I can't, even with ball control, I can't really get the ball out from that area.
It's polka time.
I didn't want to launch the... I didn't really want to launch the multi-ball yet. Seriously, oh man. Like, it's a D-pad. I'm pressing all the way up, and still, like, you kind of have to wiggle it. Alright, so theoretically, that has got everything up to the watermelon level. What else can I even do with ball control on this table? Interesting. I controlled the ball so it launched in the wrong way. That's something that would never have happened legitimately.
Wahoo, Tumbleweed.
Let's see. Try to get the multiplier up to the max. And I can't even control this. This ball control is getting worse and worse with every new table we try. But see, I want to see how you even depict on this table the
Wahoo, Tumbleweed.
like how do you even depict the this multiplier going up to 7? Is it by retroactively unlighting the ×1 and the ×2? I guess it is when you activate the ×4.
Wahoo, Tumbleweed.
Alright, well, let's go ahead and see if we can, come on,
It's polka
start a
time.
multi-ball and just play regular multi-ball, and then we'll see what throwing a watermelon looks like.
Wahoo, Tumbleweed. Too bad.
So either that threw a watermelon or I blew it. Nope, that did throw a watermelon. And it didn't play any like specific sound effects. So what that really means is that the lights
Wahoo,
at the
Tumbleweed.
end of the table, and I don't know if there's a bonus hold or anything here, but the lights in the center of the table are being repeated quite a lot for no good reason. Like, you don't need all those yellow circles. They don't mean anything. And I can't get the score multiplier up high enough without accidentally starting a multi-ball even.
Surprise, tenderfoot!
That's just ridiculous. Alright, well. Also does not need to be bouncing noises, even though that's probably what the table does. Let's play one more game. And then I'm gonna
To Cactus Jacks.
call it a day. Like, I don't see any reason to stretch this out. I would just have to get really good at probably nudging too, but also just really good at hitting those drop down targets and not draining the ball. And yeah, we can once again just point out no ball saver mode, no center peg, no kickback, fairly open out lanes. I thought the out lanes would be a little bit tighter than they are. Just incredibly wasteful and in empty design here.
Come back now, yeah?
Yeah, that was a pathetic game. Let's just look again here. So this light being throw fruit at the band and it being a bad band, I guess, is the theme. And then you have just generic things here. And then you have all these lights that are unnecessary. There's no reason for this art to be this way. It feels like you could have had an under the playfield that would potentially line up with this banjo art, which that is a banjo, but I didn't even see it until now. This sinker is often unlit. This you just have to hit 9 times to get multi-ball. That brings you up to this upper playfield that then drains out in holes, or if you miss the holes somehow drains to the bumpers. And that kind of sucks. There's a sink-in hole back here that really doesn't mean anything because it just connects back to the thorny surprise. There's a standing target here that I'd get rid of, or at least move. I'd probably have more bumpers. I definitely want to have 3 multi-ball. There's a ramp here that could easily be brought forward. You could easily get rid of 4 of the drop-down targets and have them here. Honestly, you probably should get rid of the bottom 2 and the top 2, and then you would be more in the center of the table, bringing that out more as an angled thing. Shooting this under lane path just takes you up to that standing target, which I don't know if that does anything other than light the lock. Even in that standing thing, you can see that there was clearly enough room for a third triangle, so it was supposed to do something else. And there's only 2 things for this ramp, and there's only 1 thing for this sinkhole, and there's really only 1 thing that the drop down targets do. These standing targets do 1 thing when in multi-ball and 1 thing when out of multi-ball, and that's it. Yeah, this is an unfinished product. I cannot see it any other way. There had to have been plans for more. Flashing lights on the background. Not the first time I'm sure we've seen a table that does that. You could have given voice to these characters if you're going to draw them, or given voice to the fruit. If you were going to have it where the fruit themselves were making fun of the band, and so there were like fruit pun based insults that says like, this band is more rotten than my grandfather's after a day out in the sun or something. Then a watermelon after a week out in the sun. Something like that. Here you have a smoking watermelon. Interesting. Or you could have them say like I've heard fresher tunes from a seedling, things like that. Pay some writer to do that and insult the band. Then maybe you could get into that idea of almost insult calamity, which I guess is the theme that they're trying to have here. It just does not make really a lot of sense why they thought this would have been a good idea. The only thing that makes sense is that the dancing cactus was just a huge fad for an incredibly brief amount of time. Almost certainly by the time this table was designed and released, it would have stopped being a fad. And unfortunately, that does put us in kind of a weird position where I kind of liked Bride of Pinball. I kind of liked Whirlwind. I kind of liked Diner. I definitely loved Funhouse.
Come on in.
If we come back and look at Funhouse for just a second, this would have been a 1990s table, 1 year earlier release. And you can see just how much more is happening on Funhouse compared to it. And with the more concepts, there is more to do. And arguably, Funhouse using the big circle in the center to just move the clock board isn't even that creative, but it does something. And then a talking head instead of shaking cactuses. So yeah, there really is just no comparison between Funhouse and Cactus Jacks. Now, I've been iffy as far as the class of 1812, but it would be very interesting if that turned out to be a very good table. I have no idea what that theme is going to be. It kind of feels weird, to say the least. It feels like it might be based on some book series that was popular in the 90s and nobody remembers. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.